Okay friends, one of the first things we have to do to get started on replacing, actually we're gonna have to take this out to take this out, so. Okay friends, one of the first things we're gonna have to do to get started on replacing our lamp assembly is to remove some of the mounting hardware to get to it. Right down in this area right here, there's a little clip that basically faces straight down. So I'm just gonna use a pick, get underneath this edge right here, and we'll lift it up. Be careful when you lift it up, you don't wanna lose it. So I'm just gonna use a magnet, I'll hold it right on it. Now we can lift this up and out. There it is. Set that aside. Do the same to the other one over here. So now let's look at the backside of our new headlamp assembly. We have the top area here where we just removed those two clips. But if you look down along this area, you're going to find that you have another clip that you're going to actually have to squeeze. Now this right here is going to be located right behind the battery down along the backside of the headlamp assembly on this. Typically, you can reach your hand down inside there, give it a little squeeze, and remove your headlamp assembly. If you don't want to, or you can't, just remove the battery. First, we're going to come to the negative battery terminal. Go ahead and loosen up this nut, and then remove it from the battery. Once you have that off and away from the battery terminal, move along to the positive battery terminal. Do the same thing. Now the next thing you're going to want to pay attention to is the forward area of the battery. Right down along this area is where your battery hold down is going to be. Ours is broken, but there should potentially be a bolt that comes up. Go ahead and remove that bolt, and then we're going to remove this piece right here. That's the hold down. After that, you can remove your battery. Now looking pretty much below here, we're going to be able to see where the clip is. Go ahead and squeeze on those tabs. With those squeezed, go ahead and grab onto the lamp assembly and remove it from the truck. Now at this point, we're going to remove this. Go ahead and give that a little twist. Now we can remove the headlamp. Inspect your headlamp bulb. Make sure it's in good condition. If it needs to be replaced, now's the time to replace it. Okay friends, it's time to install our brand new headlamp assembly. Something that I want to mention is on the back side. This area right along here is going to be one of your adjustment points. And then if you were to look up along this area, you'll have another adjustment point. With that said, the next thing we want to do is start lining up all of our pitons with the areas in here that they need to line up with. You have one right here, one over here, and then of course the one that's super hard to get to, that you have to get to from the back side, is inside through here. Let's put our bulb in here. Typically you just kind of twist it a little bit and you'll find that it snaps in. Once it's lined up, do the same thing for this. Ensure that it's completely locked in. If it's loose, obviously you're going to have a headlight issue. Now let's start lining everything up here. You want to make sure that these things can move around, but you need to line them up with where they belong. Now we'll just carefully press this in. Now let's have a look from the back side and just ensure that this clip is latched in as well. Now it's going to be time to put in our clips. You might have to take a screwdriver and come right along the back side of this tab and just push it through. Once you've done that, we'll continue on to putting the clip straight down and in. Just make sure it's all the way down and then do the same to the other one. Let's give it a nice wiggle and just make sure it's secured. With the headlamp in, you can see the alignment point right here, and then the other one's right over here. Now it's time to get the battery back in here. Now the next thing you want to do is put your battery hold down back on here. We'll just take this. You're going to notice it has two sides, one with a bevel and one without. We want the side with the bevel to be facing towards the battery, so it's going to go just like this. Slide it right down in there. Next thing you would want to do is put your bolt down on there and snug it up so your battery can't move at all. Now let's reconnect in our battery, starting with the positive lead. Go ahead and snug that right up. Double check to make sure it's tight. Do the same to the negative. Okay friends, we got our parking lamp assembly in. All you have left to do now is just test the bulbs, make sure they function properly. This is going to be a general tutorial on how to aim your brand new TRQ headlamp assemblies. Okay, so looking at your brand new TRQ headlamp assembly, you're going to see where your low beam is, and you'll see a little dot right in the center. And that is the axis point, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to mark that with an erasable marker, just so it's easier to see. Next, what we need to do is measure from the level ground up to this point and take note of that measurement. Now we're just going to pull the car up to our wall. On our vehicle, we remember that the measurement was 28 inches for our access point. Your vehicle may be different, but that's where I'm going to put this tape, just above that 28 inches. We'll do the same on the other side. Okay, so let's just back the vehicle up, straight back 25 feet from the wall. And now that we moved our vehicle 25 feet back from the wall, we're going to start with our measurement here. That's where the headlamp center is. We're going to go down 4 inches on the driver's side. On the passenger side, we have our line here. What we need to do is go down 2 inches. To adjust the driver's side, we're going to cover our passenger side headlamp. If you look at the back side of your headlamp assembly, you're going to see something that looks like this. This is the adjustment. Some of these headlight assemblies have 1, 2, or even more of them, but you should at least have one. This is how we're going to adjust the headlight beam. Now we're going to lower the top part of the beam down to just below this line. When you turn the adjustment to the right, it brings the beam up, and if you turn it to the left, it'll bring the headlight beam down. And this is this way on most vehicles. Let's continue on to doing the passenger side. All right, we properly aligned our TRQ headlamp assemblies. Okay, and on the quality TRQ headlamps for a pickup truck, the procedure is going to be the same. You're going to find your center dot, mark it, and then you'll measure from the level ground up to your dot. So once your headlamps are properly adjusted, it'll be time to adjust your fog lamps. You'll notice on the driver's side, the focal point is all the way at the bottom right now. I would like to bring it up so it meets up with approximately the bottom of the focal point of the headlight. Some fog lamps have an adjuster, others don't. The ones that do have an adjuster, you would just turn the adjustment to the left or to the right to adjust the beam up and down to where it needs to be. Now with your TRQ headlamps and fog lamps properly aligned, you can drive down the road safely.